If you watch this show regularly, you've probably learned by now that attorneys, such as myself, are great public speakers.
And me.
And like myself. Today, we have Professor Garfinkle, who is an excellent orator, who's going to talk to us a little bit about making public speeches.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
I always enjoy addressing attorneys.
Mm-hmm. Thanks for being here.
Thank you. Speaking of attorneys, some very wise person once remarked that when lawyers open their mouths, they're only doing one of two things. They're either making speeches or asking questions. I'd like to give you some pointers on how to do both a little more effectively, how to sound more like a lawyer, maybe even how to sound smarter when you're making a talk or a presentation of any sort. Now, this information can have value for you, not just in court, but any time that you're trying to communicate to other people, any time that you're speaking about an idea that you have. All of these ideas are really very important.
Mm-hmm.
Now, the first rule of public speaking is to try to learn about your audience.
Okay.
Learn how old they are, if they have special interests, learn if they're going to be friendly to what you're saying or against what you're saying. That will help you feel more comfortable when you first start to speak.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Another good tip when you first start to speak is to stand up and wait a few seconds, before you say anything. Get the feel of the room, let the people stop shuffling the papers, maybe there's a little bit of talking. Give them a chance, don't try to talk over them.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Check.
Then, check. The next one's going to require a little more thought. That is, have a great opening. Don't just start saying, hi, the reason I'm here is to talk about whatever you're going to talk about.
Mm-hmm.
Start with something good. Now, there's lots of what we call devices, lots of little tricks you can do. For example, you can begin with a great quotation, like, ask not what your country can do for you, ask what you can do for your country.
That's a good one.
Mm-hmm.
It's not original.
Really good. It's
Yeah.
really good.
But it's a great way to start a talk.
Oh, good.
Or you can start with an exclamation. Oh my God.
Are you okay?
Well, people are going to listen when you start a talk like that. And I am okay. Thank you, Tristan.
You scared me. I thought something was wrong.
I scared me too.
Oh, good.
Certainly got my attention.
Well, that's what the idea of the beginning of a talk is to get the attention of your audience. Because if you don't get the attention at the beginning, you're going to lose it for the whole rest of the way. Another good device you can use is what we call a word picture. Come up with something that sticks in your brain, like the red moon rose slowly over the canoe on the lake. That's a word picture. Everybody's
Very lovely.
brain sees it.
That was beautiful.
Why, thank you. Another thing you can do at the beginning of a talk is to use an expression that people aren't used to hearing. Say something that they've never heard before. Say, whatchamacallit, and now they're going to listen.
Mm-hmm.
And then explain why you said that. You can do anything at the beginning of a talk as long as it's an attention getter. Now, you've got their attention. What do you do with it? How do you keep their attention? Well, the first way you do that is by using good vocabulary. Use great words. Don't just say it was cold out. Don't say it was very cold out. Say it was frigid. Say it was so cold my teeth were chattering. Say that it was so cold that I could see my breath and frost formed on the windows as I looked out of the car. Okay, find great ways to say things, and people will listen.
It was cold as a frosty morning in Alaska.
That's a good start.
Fantastic. Good job.
Now, if you were a moose and not a pony on that morning in Alaska, would that be cold for you?
No.
So get colder than that.
It was as cold as the ice in my coffee this morning.
Or it was
That doesn't make sense.
it was as cold as a Shackleton voyage.
Oh, now we're talking.
Yeah.
That's cold.
Yeah.
Now, we've got good vocabulary and a great beginning. What do we do with our audience? We don't want to lose them. So, We want to give their brains something that they can keep in a tight little package and understand every time you think about it. So we're going to have a theme for our talk. What does that mean? Well, suppose I'm talking about my client who stole something from the store. And I want to say, well, you really can't blame her. She was hungry and it was food that she stole. So I'm not going to say, ladies and gentlemen, my client was a lady who went to the store and she took something and it didn't belong to her. And the thing she took was food. And the reason she took the food was to eat it. And then she ate it. And then they arrested her. Well, that's the story, but it's not the theme.
Yeah, it's not told very well.
The theme is this, ladies and gentlemen. Maybe my client took that piece of food, but she had no choice. She was starving. And the only way she could keep from starving was to eat. And she didn't have money for food. And so she took that food, but not because she wanted to steal, but because she was starving.
Oh, can I try?
Please, a good theme.
Hunger makes people do desperate things.
That's a great theme. You
Very
went to a
good.
good law school. I'm not surprised.
I did.
I know.
I went to Seton Hall.
I heard.
I'm going to try to.
Please.
Hunger is what I am right now because I haven't eaten yet.
Tristan, what else is new?
It's
Now,
very good.
there's something that you men do better than most people,
Mm-hmm.
and that's when they speak, they use gestures. If you were to sit and talk like this and say, wow, it was very big, and I was so hot, I was sweating, and all those things, it's much more effective. You say, wow, it was huge, and I was so hot, I was sweating. So we like to gesture. We use our hands. And another thing we do, we change our voices.
Yes, we do.
We do. We sound excited, or we sound sad.
Very sad.
Sometimes we can get somebody's attention by talking softly. And sometimes we talk loud. But we do this all to keep their attention. And that's what makes a speech good.
Very good.
Now, the most important thing is to figure out what the purpose of your talk is, because you're coming to the end, right? You've got their attention, you've used gestures, you've had great language, some nice word pictures, you've really got your audience going with you. Now we got to wrap it up.
Yeah.
So now you got to tell your audience what you want them to do. You're not going to say, well, folks, that's it, I'm out of time, goodbye, go home and have a nice day. You're going to say, no, go out and vote for somebody, or I want you to do this, or that's why this is so important, or now go home and call your senators. You got to use that last part to do something good. You got to wrap it up. And so we say finish strong, have power, right? Pony power.
Yeah.
Pony power.
Pony power.
Yeah.
Okay, we got it?
Got it.
All right, pony power. Now I said lawyers just give speeches and ask questions. That was the speech part. The question part is fun too. See, sometimes when you hear somebody asking questions, and you guys go to court a lot, so you know what I'm talking about, and you say, man, doesn't that person know how to ask questions? And other times you sit and you say, boy, that person really knows how to ask questions. Well, as lawyers, we ask two kinds of questions. We ask questions to gain information, and then we ask questions to try to prove our point. And those really aren't questions. We'll talk about them later. But to ask questions to gain information, we go like this. First, we figure out what is the biggest question we can ask. So I want to know about whether it was raining on a Thursday, and if it was raining, if the person had an umbrella. So my first question is going to be, do you remember Thursday? And the answer is going to be yes. Well, tell me about Thursday. Maybe they tell you all about Thursday, but they forget to mention the weather. So you say, well, what was the weather like on Thursday? And they say, oh, Thursday it was raining. Now, this is when we get to the part of asking questions, which we call looping, which is so much fun because we're now getting into the heart of our questioning. And what we want to do is take a few words from each question we ask. And no matter what the answer is, we're going to use some of those words in the next question. So I'm going to say, what was the weather like? And the answer is going to be, well, it was raining. And I'm going to say, wow, if it was raining on Thursday, did you do anything about that? And you can say yes. And I'll say, well, then what did you do about the rain on Thursday? And you'll say, I carried an umbrella. And I'll say, well, what kind of umbrella did you carry? I'll use a word from your question and put it from your answer and put it in the next question. It's very simple to do, but when you hear all the questions in a row, it makes them sound very intelligent.
Yes.
Now, we also try to move from the big question, which is, well, tell me about Thursday, all the way down to the little question, which is, can you tell me about that umbrella? And then you say, well, I had this umbrella. You tell me about your umbrella, but you can always ask smaller and smaller questions. As a lawyer, you got to figure out when to stop. So I can say, well, do you have a handle on that umbrella? Well, yes. How big is the handle? What is the handle made out of? Do you know if it was manufactured by a person or by a machine? You can always ask more questions. The lawyer's job is to not ask too many questions.
A lawyer like me.
Oh, I'm sure you're very appropriate with your questioning. I've seen some of your deposition transcripts. You're really outstanding.
Why, thank you.
Now, sometimes we ask questions to prove our point. We do this on what's called cross-examination. And there, we don't even have to ask questions like questions because the other side has a lawyer. The person we're asking questions, they got their own lawyer to protect them. So I don't have to ask them questions by saying, tell me this or isn't it true? I can make them answer my questions by giving them the answer right in the question. I can say, that shirt is green there, isn't it, Tristan?
Yes.
I'm not asking you what color your shirt is. I'm telling you it's green and then saying, isn't it?
He's confirming a truth that you've pointed out.
That's exactly right. I'm giving him the answer right in the question, and I'm hoping he says yes. So I can say, that's your favorite shirt, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You wear it whenever you're going on TV, aren't you?
I do, in fact.
And you even wear it on the radio.
You know, if you give him
How do you know all this about me?
Because I'm getting you to tell me stuff I know by giving you questions as if they're statements, and you're just playing along because you're a good witness.
Of course.
Everyone needs to be good at something.
Oh, he's good at a lot of things. I've seen the paperwork he does in court.
Yeah.
He's excellent.
But you know, if you give him the answers all the time, he's not going to really learn anything.
He's learned it all already. I can't teach him anything he doesn't know.
It's all right there.
Where?
In there somewhere.
Well, now you guys understand how to ask questions like a lawyer. You understand how to give a speech like a lawyer. You certainly know how to try cases like a lawyer because I've seen you in court. So now there's nothing to keep you from being the two best lawyers in the whole state. Isn't that true?
True.
At least the two best pony lawyers in the state.
At least the two best sounding pony lawyers.
Yeah.
We don't set the bar very high.
No.
Well, it's not the limbo.
Well, thank you very much. This was most educational. I've enjoyed this. I feel like more of a lawyer today.
Thank you. And